This is going to be a video explaining how to do the 7D Level 2 exercises, as well as offer a little bit of background information about the truth tables in general. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on my link here on Canvas, and it's going to take me here. I'm in teacher view, so it looks a little bit different to me, but you're just going to see an access to this link. Go ahead and click on it. And it's going to take you to the dashboard page. If you haven't already signed in, it's going to ask you to sign in. But if you have signed in like I have, it's going to take you here. So then what you're going to do is you're going to go in and do each of these 10 exercises. And these are going to be graded by completion. So what happens is when you look at these things and you do it, I'll see it updated in the grade workbook that I see that you've completed the exercise. And I'll check you off. And at the end of this, I'll count up how many of these you've done. And for all that you've done, I will then divide that number by the total number of exercises that were available. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's something like 60. And then that percentage I'll multiply by I believe 25 point value for the truth tables. Maybe it's 30 points, and that's how you will get points for the truth table exercises. So don't worry necessarily about getting it right, although you do want to be getting it right because you're going to be asked some questions about this stuff on the test, because this is really more about completion. So I'm going to go to 7D Level 2 exercise number 1 here first. And just a heads up, some of you will probably experience an error that will tell you that you are incapable of logging on, or you're forbidden or something like that. This is a rare thing that happens, but it does happen to some students. If it does, you need to use Logicola instead as a way to get around this, to still do your truth table exercises. But assuming you can get to this, and hopefully you can, here's what I'm going to be doing with these truth tables. What I'm going to do with the truth table is I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at these values here, true or false, which in Logicola are represented as a 1 for true and a 0 for false. And I'm just going to move them over. Or I don't even have to move them over, excuse me, because the truth table's already done it for me. So when I click on this line, for instance, it highlights everything underneath of it. So here I have true, true, false, false. And the reason I have true, true, false, false is because that's what's over here on the other side of my truth table. And this is set up to give me all the possible truth value combinations for Q and P. What I will then do is click on this line. And if I were to do that, it highlights these. What I really want to do first here is take care of this negation. Right, so here I have a negated P. It's not over the whole if-then conditional. It's only to P. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to highlight this now, and flip each of these values. So instead of this being true, it's going to be false, because it's negating the P value. So here the P value is true, and I'm just going to flip it when I get to the negation. So here when it's false, flip that to true, false, true. Okay. And now this is the value I really want to pay attention to when I'm now looking at the entire value for my conditional. Don't worry about this value anymore. That's not going to be important to you, because this is the actual value of it once it's been negated. So I now look at a true antecedent, false consequent. So the first part is true and the second part is false for a conditional. That's the one case where this whole thing is false. Everything else should be true. And once I do that, it's going to ask me to select the main operator. If I try to submit this now, it's probably going to give me an error. It's going to say incorrect main operator. Okay. And I also believe that that burned one of my attempts here to get this right. So make sure that you select the correct main operator. I'm going to unclick these. So now I've selected the main operator here, which is the if-then rather than this negation or anything else. And now I'm going to submit. And it's going to tell me I'm correct. If you click this little help button, it's going to tell you some stuff about how to fill it out, or what's being asked of you, but it doesn't give you too much more feedback than that, I don't believe. Okay, so that was 7D Level 2 exercise number 1. I'll do one more of these. Once you get to here, you can just click on the Go Right button, and it should take you to exercise number 2, which it does. This one's more complicated, but I'm going to apply a similar strategy here to figure out how to solve this truth table. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and do this, what's inside the parentheses first, and then work my way out. So to do that, I'm going to look at these two things to figure out what the middle value should be. So here, when they're both true, this middle value should be true. When it's true, false for a conditional, this is the one case where it's false, and then this is true, and then this is true. All right, so now I'm not going to worry about that anymore. What I need to do next is flip the values for this R claim for my negation. So here when it's true, this is actually going to be false, true, false, true. And now I ignore this line. This is the one that really gives me the actual value. And I'm now going to be comparing this line to give me the value for the OR claim. And the OR claim is actually the main operator of this argument. So here I have an OR claim, and I need to figure out, well, if the first part's true and the second part's false for an OR claim, is it still true? Yes, an OR claim is true if any of the parts is true. So that's true, 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 true. So this would be true in every case. And it's going to tell me something here. Oh yeah, please mark one main operator. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and that should go away. All right, now I'm going to click submit, and that's correct. Okay, same deal. I'm going to go ahead. This actually uses A twice. It fills it all in for me, which is kind of nice. And I'm going to work my way inside parentheses first and then go out. So here I have, I'm looking at these two lines, or these two columns in my truth table to figure out what the middle value should be. Because it's an AND claim, this is true when they're both true, and it's false in every other case. They need to both be true for this to be true. Okay, so that's done. This part of my OR statement is this. And over here, I'm going to just highlight this because I want to get the value for the OR claim now. An OR claim is true if one of the parts is true. So here I have true, true, that's true. Here I have true, false, that's true. False, false, that's false. False, false, that's false. Okay. And now I'm going to go back and highlight only one main operator. Click submit. So that's how you do these 7D exercises. Please do all of those 1 through 10 to get some practice, and if you want, you can go back into the level 1 exercises as well for additional practice.